everybody, it's Liz. I'm coming to you with a 30-minute practice, and we're going to be focusing on the side body, so this will be like a nice juicy side body flow. And just make sure, if you have them at home, to grab 2 blocks and a strap. If you don't have the props, it's okay, you can always work without them. And we're going to start today's practice down on our backs, just for a few breaths to get ourselves centered. So come down onto the floor with the soles of the feet on the mat, and you can lower down onto your forearms. Walk your feet in close enough that you can just kind of barely graze the back of your heel with your middle finger. And then walk your feet wide and let your knees drop into the center. So the weight of one knee is supporting the weight of the other knee. And then just place your hands on your belly. It should feel nice and grounding. Left hand can be underneath of your right hand, and your elbows can rest on the floor. And then once you're there, go ahead and let your eyes close, and let's just take a nice deep breath in together. And you can imagine that you are breathing in like through every pore on your body, your front, your back, your sides. And then open mouth, exhale. We'll do that just a few more times. Breathing in like you were breathing in through every pore on your body. And imagine with that it was like you were turning on a light bulb on the inside, and you're just starting to notice what it is you're bringing with you to the mat. If you're noticing tension or holding anywhere, as you exhale out through the mouth, imagine that you are letting all of that kind of drop and flow and just sink down into the floor. One last time, breath in. And out. Let's bring the hands to the backs of the thighs, and we're going to start to rock and roll a little bit. So this is a nice little massage for all the muscles that protect the spine. Let your chin tuck to your chest as you roll a little bit forward and back, and you can do this about 3 or 4 times before crossing ankles on the floor. And then bringing your hands in front of you, we're going to step ourselves back into tabletop pose. Bringing your shoulders to stack directly over top of your wrists, your hips to stack directly over top of your knees, and then really pressing down into the support that you've created for yourself. Let's take the right leg straight back behind us with the toes curled under to start, so that when you're looking down the line of your body, you're making sure that that hip point is facing straight down towards the floor. And then draw your bottom 2 ribs in. It's almost like you were bringing yourself into this action of corseting through your ribs. Start to lift your right foot up so it's just maybe hovering at the height of the hips, but notice if that lower back wants to let go. See if you can keep the engagement through your hamstring and through your glute. And then without turning your toes out to the side, you're going to take your legs slightly over to the right. Notice if that left hip wants to pop out, and see if you can pull it back in towards the center line of the body. Now listen up to this. This transition we'll do a few more times. Bring that right leg straight back behind you. Bring the sole of your right foot to the floor. And then you're going to start to pivot the right toes to face the right edge of the mat. Press off of your hands, and you're going to bring yourself into what looks a little bit like half malasana. Then if you want, press that right shoulder to the inside of your right thigh, right fingertips to the floor, and then sweep the left arm up towards the ceiling, and just get a little bit more of a wingspan, reaching from one set of fingers to the other. We're going to pop back to the top of the mat from here. So you can either walk your hands forward, or maybe without your hands, almost like a little shoot forward. Hands come to the mat, hip turns to face the floor, lower belly up and in. Lift that right leg up and take it out to the side. We're going to do that a few more times, and you can find a pace that matches your own breath. So it starts to become one fluid action rather than separate actions. Foot lifts to the height of the hip, bringing the leg out to the side. Extend it back, lower the toes, and bring yourself into that nice wide-winged half malasana pose. Beautiful. Let's do that one last time. Lifting the foot up, taking it out to the side, and then taking the foot straight back, pivot on the heel, and bring your wingspan. Now once we're here, we're going to give ourselves a little myofascial release for the left foot. Step your right heel into the center of your left arch. And you can use the weight of your body, kind of moving up and down the foot a little bit gently. And you're probably going to find some sweet spots. We're not looking for sharp pain or sensation. Instead, we want something that's more of like a referral. A little up and down, easy breath. And then once you've found that, bring both hands to the floor. Pivot forward, keeping those right toes curled under. We're going to take it back to 3-legged dog. So extend your left leg straight up and back. And then again here, we're working to pivot that left hip to face down towards the floor, squeezing the left hip, the left glute, and your left hamstring. Draw your left knee in towards your nose, roll it forward, rounding through your upper back, hover and squeeze, and then take a giant step forward, bringing the left foot all the way up in between your hands. And then you're going to let your right knee lower all the way down to the mat. Untuck your back toes. Start to lunge just a little bit more forward. And for this first lunge, you're gonna let go a little bit. Instead of squeezing inner thighs and outer hips, we're letting the weight of our body just sink forward into that pelvic region. And think about sending your breath down there. One more, nice long inhale. Maybe an open mouth exhale if that helps you to relax. And then we start to press the foot and the shin away from one another. Inner thighs draw in, and you're gonna bring your hands onto your front shin. If you feel pretty stable here, then arms sweep up to frame your ears, and we're gonna reach for the clasp of opposite elbows. So you're creating a frame for yourself, moving the arm bones back, lifting up through the sides of the waist, and then imagine there was like a little invisible barrier just at the base of your shoulder blades, so the back bend is gonna come up and over that. One more big breath in. And then exhale, release the hands all the way down to the floor. We're gonna step back to that downward facing dog again. Hips roll up and back, knees bend. Take the sit bones high. So from this downward facing dog, we're gonna work in this one with bent knees. Knees bent, hips lift up and back, sits bones reaching up towards the ceiling. And then you're gonna start to scoop your tailbone underneath of you and roll your whole spine forward so that your shoulders stack over the wrist. You're coming into a high plank pose. Lower belly up and in. Try to move your chest slightly forward without letting your ribs go. So we're trying to keep that lower belly toned towards the spine. Reaching from heel to crown of head. As you exhale, elbows bend in and back, and this time we're gonna lower it all the way down onto the belly. Tops of the feet come to the floor, peeling the chest and the chin up. Look forward, let's take this one in cobra pose. So elbows squeezing in tight, shoulders dropping down. And then take those hips back, finding child's pose for a moment. Hips to heels, forehead resting on the mat. Let's roll it forward again. Shoulders stack over wrists, hips over knees. And this time we'll take it to the second side. So I'm gonna turn myself in this way you can see me. Once again, we're gonna take that left leg straight back behind us, pivot the hip to face the floor, lift the foot up to the height of the hip, squeezing glutes, squeezing belly, and then take that foot out to the side. Straight back behind you, pivot the toes, and find that half malasana pose. If you want hands on the mat, or you can spring it forward so you're working to use more balance, but lift, bring it out to the side, and then take it straight back. We're really working to keep a really strong sense of connection to the core here. So let your midsection be where you move from, out to the side and back. And it starts to become this fluid action, worrying less about exactly landing and instead seeing if you can let breath and movement flow, like a moving meditation. That's it, we're gonna do one more. Hands to the floor, take that leg out to the side, extend that leg straight back behind you, and just for a moment, holding in this one, spreading the collarbones, opening through the chest. Really nice. And then release both hands to the floor. Curling your left toes under, extend your right leg up and back, big long stretch through the sides of the waist. And then exhale, draw that knee to the nose, roll it forward, step your right foot all the way up in between your hands, and let your back knee lower to the floor. And then sweep your arms up to frame your ears here. You're gonna find the clasp of opposite elbows. Arm bones move back, finding that nice lift through the sides of your waist. So from here, up and out, and then right beneath the tips of the shoulder blades, that's where the back bend starts, almost like you were pulling a bow. Moving on to back. Staying for a rounded breath, and remember you've got that strong, sturdy foundation of the legs. Exhale, release your hands all the way down to the floor. One more opportunity to step it back, rolling the hips up and back with the bent knees in this downward dog so that we can create more of that nice crescendo in the lower back. Hips lift high, roll it forward. Always the option to bring knees to the floor with this transition, but you're hugging the elbows in and back and the whole body lowers together as one unit. Lift up into cobra pose, or maybe this time you want to take upward facing dog. For upward dog, press down into your hands to straighten your arms, firm up your thighs, belly strong, pull your heart forward, look up. And then exhale, roll those hips up and back, find downward facing dog. Breath in and out. All right, we're gonna turn it to face the top of the mat so that you can see me again. Downward facing dog from here. And this time you're looking forward to the top of the mat. Take as many steps as you need to walk your feet to meet your hands. Maybe for this first one, a lunge of little baby steps to get there. Feet are hips width distance apart, and you're gonna bend your knees enough that you can actually rest your belly on your thighs. So if you find like that you're rounded here, the more you bend your knees, the more you should be able to fold in half, almost like a piece of paper. And then you're gonna reach for opposite elbows, right arm to left elbow, left arm to right elbow, letting the crown of the head relax down towards the floor, letting your shoulders soften, maybe a little sway side to side from your hips. Really letting gravity do the work to traction your spine. And then release the hands down towards the floor and start to roll up. Keep firming up your belly as you roll yourself all the way up to stand. And then once you're there, fix your pants if you need to, and sweep those arms all the way out and up. Bring your palms to press above your head. Let's make this into a little bit of a back bend. Arm bones move back, hip points pull forward and up, chest lifts. Look up towards your hands. Move those arm bones back. Big, 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 big reach. And then exhale, hands come down to your heart. Let the hands release next to your sides. Inhale again, sweep those arms all the way up to frame your ears. And then exhale, hinge at your hips, bend the knees, fold it all the way forward. Find your half lift, hands slide up to your shin bones. And then release your hands down onto the floor. And you're gonna step just your left foot to the back of the mat. Heel to heel alignment, just give this a try for today to come into warrior two. So you're circling your arms out, arms reaching towards the front and the back of the room. Make sure that front knee is tracking towards the pinky edge of the foot and then settle down into those legs. And then we're gonna play with side body here. So this is where we're really gonna start to feel that opening. I want you to feel through the transitions as much as we're working through the actual poses themselves. So as you let your left hand drop onto the left thigh, reach your right arm up and over, big stretch through the right side of your waist. And then as you exhale, feeling the balance coming back through center, drop your right elbow to right thigh, left arm coming up and over your ear. So now the length is on that back side body. Inhale, arms come back out over your legs, spin it opposite way. Back hand isn't supporting your weight. You're letting it dangle on the thigh as you reach up and over. Try to keep the same amount of bend in your front knee. And then circle it forward. This time, if you want, bringing your right hand all the way to the inside of the foot. And this is another spot where you can use a block. So placing the block on the inside of the foot, palm to the block. Sits bone, especially that right one, is kind of circling underneath of the body, and you're reaching up and over. I'm gonna move the block to the side. For this one, we're gonna revolve again. And this is gonna take us to the back of the mat, so listen up. Imagine yourself turning. You're gonna start to straighten your right leg, and then pivot your right toes to face the left side of the mat. Pivot your left toes to face the back of the mat. And this time we're coming into a variation of Trikonasana. And this isn't as deep as what you would normally take, so you're not coming all the way down. You're just letting your left hand land where it lands. Now reach your right arm up and over your ear. Big stretch through that right side body. We're gonna revolve this again. Let your right hand release to the right thigh. And left arm lifts up and over, and start to pivot again. So left toes turn to face the left corner of the mat, right toes turn forward, and you're coming back into that side angle variation. Opening up. One more time. Pivot it by finding your revolve. Front leg straightens, right toes turn in, left toes turn back, and we're coming into Trikonasana pose. So think length through your crown of your head, through your tail, the lower belly up and in and spiral the chest open. Now this time you're gonna bend your back knee, and we're gonna circle the right hand all the way down to the floor, all the way up and over. And now we're coming into a twisted lunge facing the opposite side of the mat. So front knee is bent, really strong sense of engagement through that back heel. And then rather than letting your hips move, you're turning from your belly, from your chest, taking your gaze up towards your extended hand. Let's bend that left elbow, and as you bend your left elbow, drop your gaze down towards the floor. Feel the connection up through the side of your body, all the way up to your neck. And then inhale, extend back up again, and look underneath of that armpit. This time we drop the arm behind the back, and you're gonna drop your right ear to your right shoulder. Extend the arm back up again, and look towards the armpit. We're gonna go through that 2 more times. Let it have its own pace. Elbow bends, gaze looks down towards the floor. Reach the arm up, look underneath the armpit. Drop the arm behind the back and drop your ear to your shoulder. This is the last one. Sweep that arm up, look up towards your arm. Bend the elbow, look down. Reach your arm up and over, look underneath of your armpits. And wrap the arm around the back, drop your ear to your shoulder. Let's let both hands release all the way down to the floor now. Let your back knee lower to the mat. And then let's straighten the left leg. So we're coming into a half split pose. Left toes flex back towards your face. Left hip pulls back. Lower belly draws up and in, and then as you exhale, without rounding through your spine, you're folding forward over the front leg. Nice big breath. Think about sending the sits bones up and back. So there's kind of an anterior pelt, which means that your pelvis is tipping slightly more forward. Let's bring all four corners of that left foot back to the floor. And now plant your right palm on the inside of the foot again. You're gonna pivot so that you're bringing your right foot off of the mat. We're gonna come into a side plank variation. So left leg extends straight back behind you, left arm reaches up towards the ceiling. Still more, send that left arm up and over your ear. And then your final option is to step your feet together, so you're coming into a full variation of side plank pose. Sides of the waist lengthening up. Beautiful work. And then exhale, bring both hands to the floor. And then lower all the way down onto your belly. Let's lift up into your cobra pose or upward dog, your option. Always the option to skip vinyasa if you want as well. And then take those hips up and back. Let's find the side body on the left. First, you're taking that left leg straight back behind you. Step your left foot all the way up in between your hands, so you're coming into your lunge first. And then find that heel to heel alignment. And we're gonna come into warrior two. So arms reaching towards the sides of the room, anchoring into the center and the pinky edge of your back foot. And then nice deep bend in that front knee, so you're coming to a 90-degree angle. Let's revolve it. So start to feel the side body connection here. The moment where we tip into the left side body and that right side body shortens. And then bringing it back through center, finding the balance. Taking it the opposite way. We can start by bringing left elbow to left thigh, right arm up and over, and we have this nice long diagonal line from the back foot all the way out through the fingertips. Revolve it again. Taking the right arm back, left arm up and over, big stretch through the side body without changing that front knee at all. And this time, if you'd like, maybe bringing your left hand all the way to the floor, to a block, whatever option makes sense for you. And you're gonna flow it back and forth at your own pace. Let this be an exploration, so it doesn't matter how many times you go through it. Instead, you're just starting to feel this connection that runs up the sides of the body. One last round. Lowering the hand to the floor. This time when you revolve it, we're gonna start to straighten that front leg and take your time with the pivot. So your left toes are turning in, your right toes are facing straight towards the back of the room, and you're coming into a Trikonasana variation. You're not bringing the hand all the way down to the floor, and that's okay. I want you to find the magnetism of the inner thighs, that your tailbone is reaching straight back behind you, that you're not letting your butt go back. Everything's kind of hugging in towards the midline. And then we revolve this, back hand lowers. Let that right arm reach up and back and start to pivot your toes so you're facing back towards the front of the room. And you can start to let it have a little bit more of a flow. Revolving, straightening the front leg and pivoting back like a tick-tock, side to side. Turning it back towards the front of the room. Let there be breath in it. So it becomes this moving meditation. That's it. You might come a little further on the leg every time. One last round, bringing it forward, finding your side angle variation, and then bringing it all the way up and back. Pivot those toes. This time we're going to keep bringing it all the way up and around. So left arm is going to come to the floor, right knee is going to bend, and you're coming into a twist, an easy twist here. Opening up through the side of the waist, gaze going up towards that extended hand. Now extend your right arm all the way up, and then bend the elbow. Really squeeze it in towards your midline, like you could bring the elbow behind the back and drop your chin to the floor. Lift your gaze as the arm extends, and then drop the arm behind the back and drop your left ear to your left shoulder. Inhale, reach, look up. Exhale, elbow bends, look down. Inhale, extend. Exhale, ear drops, arm comes around the back. Last round. Reach it up and over, look underneath of that arm. Bend your elbow to the cactus shape and look down. Reach it up, feel the reach from your fingertips to your hip, and then drop the arm behind the back and drop your ear. Lower both hands all the way down to the floor, lower that back knee, and let's find our Ardha Hanumanasana or half split pose. So straightening your right leg out in front of you, tapping the right hip back. Lower belly up and in, and then lengthen the sides of the waist and fold forward over that front leg. 3 deep breaths. Softening where you can soften, and then notice where maybe you're not working enough. So lower belly and hips are engaged, and then shoulders and necks are relaxed. One more. Bring all 4 corners of your right foot to the mat, and you're gonna spin. So left palm stays down, it's opposite hand to foot. You're gonna kick your left foot off of the mat, And then start to sweep into that side variation, Vashisthasana or side plank pose. Shoulder is stacked directly over top of wrists. Shoulder blades are drawing together, and then you're reaching through your fingertips. Maybe you're staying here, or maybe you're stepping that bottom foot, stacking, right foot over top of left, and then pressing the hips up and away from the floor. Nice big stretch through the side of the waist. Always the option to skip right to downward facing dog if you'd like, or take it through your vinyasa. Chaturanga, high to low plank. Inhale, coming into upward dog or cobra pose. And then rolling over your toes and sending those hips up and back to downward facing dog. Let's bring the knees down to the floor. I'm going to turn to face back towards the front of the mat again. Really nice work, everybody. We're going to get a little juicy now. So taking one of your blocks, we're going to start by placing it underneath of the right armpit. So we're coming into what we'll call Cleopatra pose. Bring that right elbow to the floor, and the block is going to be underneath of your right armpit, a little bit closer to your ribs than it is to your tricep. Left hand can be wherever you want. And you're going to rock it a little bit forward and backward. And you're not holding on here at all. This should be nice and relaxed. From here, we're going to come to a nice juicy back bend of your choice. This should hopefully help to make a little bit of space for you. When you start to rock forward again, let's stay with the armpit a little bit closer to the pectoral muscles. And then place your hands one over top of the other and just let your forehead rest down. You don't have to stay here for long, but if you want to stay for a little bit longer, you're welcome to pause the video and just rest and relax with this. This is a great way to start your day. A little bit of release in the body will go a long way. And then we're going to take it to one more spot. So now taking it a little bit further back, towards the back of your armpit. So we've gone from the pectoral muscles, now we're in serratus anterior. If you want to get fancy terminology, if not, just know it's part of your ribs. And you're letting the weight of your body rest here for a little bit. Breath in, and you're going to feel you're kind of pressing the blocks away, and breath out to soften. Remember, you're welcome to pause for as long as you like. And then we're going to come off of our blocks and just for a moment lay on our back so that we can feel the difference between the two sides from right to left. There doesn't have to be a lot of words to it, just closing your eyes and sensing what's different, what feels interesting or curious. And then we're going to take it to the second side. So I'll turn myself this way and that way you can still see me. This time it's underneath of your left armpit. Making sure that you're comfortable. For most of it, it's going to be at the medium setting, and it's going to be width-wise, like the smallest width. Let your head rest in your hand and find that little rock forward and backward. And you're just playing with finding a spot that's juicy. So when we're feeling into this, we want to find something that gives us some sensation, but nothing sharp or shooting. Let's bring it forward to the front of the armpit, letting your forehead rest down towards your hands. Taking a long time, a short time, whatever makes sense for you, 5 to 10 breaths. Remembering you can pause the video if you'd like. And then lifting up and taking it towards the back of your armpit. So you're finding a second spot that gives you a little bit of information, we'll call it that. And breathing here. And then once you've done that, we're going to come onto our backs one last time. So we're setting ourselves up. The first back bend is going to be bridge pose. Walk your feet in close enough that you can touch the back of your heel with your middle finger, and then press down into both of your feet to start to roll one vertebra at a time. And we're really trying to articulate the spine as we lift. And then once you've lifted your hips up to the height of your knees, or really in a diagonal line with your knees, making sure that the weight is both on the inner and the outer edge of your foot, that you're not letting your knees drop out. We want to hug in towards the midline. Maybe the palms are staying planted, or maybe you're lifting and moving your arms underneath of you, interlacing your fingers and reaching your knuckles towards your heels. And for today, I want you to really pay attention, if you would, to the sides of your body. So see how when you lift your hips, that you feel this connection from your hip to the underneath of your armpit. And see if you can start to lift and move your ribs forward and up so there's this big lift in your chest. Now don't do what I'm doing. You're going to turn your head so that you're looking straight up towards the ceiling. Back of your head pressing into the floor so that your neck is never compressed. You can pause if you want it to stay for longer, and then you're going to let your hips release down to the floor without moving your legs side to side. I know sometimes we want to fidget, but see if you can just stay with this for a moment as we move to our second back bend. So hopefully this one will feel really nice after the release that we just did. We're gonna work towards full wheel pose. This is our peak pose for today. You're gonna bring your hands next to your ears. Fingers are going to face down towards your armpits. We'll see if I don't catch my hair in this. Try to keep your elbows hugging in rather than falling out. Press down into both of your feet and lift up first onto the top of your head. Just take a moment to catch your breath. Notice that for most of us, our toes want to start to turn out. Try to keep your feet parallel to one another. Now press down into both hands and lift, starting to move your heart towards the back of the room. If you feel like your lower back is a little jammed up, walk your feet in a little inch, come up onto the balls of the feet, and press. Now, if full wheel is not in your practice, you are welcome to stay with bridge. We're breathing for 5 breaths. Relaxing your neck. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bringing the top of the head down to the floor, lowering onto the back. And then our counter pose is going to be happy baby pose. Catching the outer edges of the feet, letting your knees bend down wide towards the sides of the mat. Feel free to take a twist if you'd like, or simply settle into your Shavasana and know that you can pause the tape and take that for as long as you like. Legs extended out long, arms next to your sides, closing your eyes. See if when you close your eyes you can pay attention to those lines along the side of the body, to feel the way in which we're connected from top to bottom. Exploring that as you settle into stillness.
From a person that faces a burden and always just steers away. I know that you want the best for me. All you've been doing is stressing me. You and me got different recipes. I'm sorry, but blame it on destiny. No hard feelings, but that's just how I am. I don't need your power plan. Second guessing now I can't understand. Anything that gets me fired is getting fanned. Anything to prove you wrong is straight supply in my demand. Bam. I know you think you helping, but just move along. No matter what you tell me, I'ma prove you wrong.
Why don't you leave me alone? You see my big gun view. Just need to be on my own, 'cause I know what to do. I can't tell you how this fell through. I don't know at all.
Thank you so much for joining me today. Hope the flow helped you get your day started. And take care until next time.